هذه الحياة مراحل ومواقف وفواصل. هذه الحياة.
الحمد لله رب العالمين، صلى الله وسلم على سيد الأولين والآخرين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Now the next few weeks, inshallah ta'ala, the idea is that we can discuss several points on preparing for Ramadan, and that will cover, inshallah, both the spiritual aspect of preparing for Ramadan and the legal aspect in terms of knowing the rules and regulations and guidelines beforehand. Now, Ramadan, Allah prescribed for us in order that we may practice and train our souls to be strengthened with taqwa. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you, just as it was for those who came before you. The previous nations also had fasting, even though it might have been different in slight variations in the way they fasted and so on, but fasting was prescribed لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may attain taqwa. Now, what's the idea of taqwa? Who can tell us what the idea behind taqwa is? What's taqwa? Yes, you. Taqwa, what does taqwa mean? Because we hear it all the time. Every khutbah we hear, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu attaqullah, Ya ayyuha an-nasu attaqu rabbakum, and so on, so on, so on. But because we hear it so much, it doesn't affect our hearts anymore. It's just, this is standard. When he finishes this, then the khutbah starts. This is just, introduction. No, this is part of one of the most important parts of the khutbah. Yes?
Is it intention?
A bit more than that.
Obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely.
Obedience sincerely. Yes?
Close to Allah.
Closeness, but what's the idea behind taqwa?
الخوف من الله.
Huh?
الخوف من الله.
Fear?
Iman.
Okay. What else?
And
who can give us an example of taqwa? An idea behind that. One of the Sahaba was asked about taqwa, and he gave a practical, physical example.
أعبد الله كأنك تراه.
Naam, good. Okay. It is consciousness of Allah. It is consciousness of Allah. That you are conscious and you're careful. This is why when one of the Sahaba, and it's narrated about several of them, were asked about taqwa, they said, imagine you were on a path which contained harmful objects. How would you walk? He said, I would lift up my toe and carefully walk. Just like now, if we're walking on a wet path with puddles and so on, we're not just going to walk without thinking. We're going to step to the side and move away from the puddles and maybe step carefully so that we don't get our clothes and shoes and socks wet. And this is taqwa. The person takes care in what they do and what they say. And this is the key. Because everyone can short-term or one-off do acts of worship. Everyone here is fasted, everyone has recited the Quran, everyone has recited the Quran, everyone has even prayed Qiyam al-Layl, everyone. But the key here is that it's a part of us. Taqwa is an attribute that is consistent with us all the time. Every single thing we do, we think, we're careful, we're conscious that Allah is watching us. Now, if, for example, there were biscuits on the table and one of the children wanted to take one of the biscuits, or even some of the adults wanted to take some of the biscuits, but I was there watching, person might think twice. Nobody will touch it. If I was away and nobody was in the masjid and the biscuits were there, easily a person can take that biscuit. What's the difference? Both times I wanted the biscuit. The child wanted the biscuit. Both times they wanted it. But in the first time, somebody was watching, and they knew somebody was watching, so they disciplined themselves. We can't say the first one didn't want it and the second one wanted it. Both of them wanted it. But this one had to say, no, I want to, but I have to control myself. So this is very important. We're not saying a person, you're not allowed to want the matters of the dunya. Because the soul is like this, the nafs is like this. It wants ease, it wants rest, it wants all the desires of the dunya, food and drink and this and that. It's like that. But the difference is the one who disciplines it. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. The one who deserves Jannah as their end is not the one who doesn't have desires and the one that doesn't have a nafs. It's the one who prevents it at the right time. وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. And this is really important, that we get into this habit of, we take control of ourselves. We take control of ourselves, because if we let the nafs take control of us, wallahi, it's a massive mushkil. It's a big mushkil. And we see all the problems of the world today come from the nafs. The nafs wants to do this, the nafs wants that, his nafs wants this, and his nafs want this, and so wars occur, and troubles occur, and so on. And the only reason we get ourselves into trouble is because of lack of discipline in the nafs. Wallahi, this is the case. And so the more a person takes control of themselves, they decide. I will decide whether I do this or not you. If we let the nafs go, we're in deep trouble. And this is really key, this is really important. And this is a lifetime battle. Controlling and disciplining the nafs, making sure the heart is strong and sound and pure, is a lifetime battle. No one should think that it's something that happens in one Ramadan and that's it. That's it. This Ramadan I'm going to be, ma'soom for the rest of my life. No way. No way in the world. It has to be constant battle, constant battle, constant battle. And the point is, we have to be prepared to battle. Because sometimes when we don't realize that it's a battle, a lifetime battle, we become weak. We say, well, last Ramadan I tried, now I'm doing the same things again. And the Ramadan before I promised that I'm going to stop, I'm doing the same things again. And last Ramadan I said I'm going to start doing this, and I stopped after 1 week. Or after 1 month. But we end up giving up. And this is really a trap from the shaitan we have to be aware of. We keep going, and Allah makes it easy for us. The people of Iman and Taqwa now, whose hearts are full of Iman and Taqwa and Ihsan, they find it easy. They find it easy, Allah. Ask a person who recites the Quran every day. Ask them, don't you find it difficult to recite? Say, Allah, it's easy. I find it difficult to not read Quran. And if one day went and I didn't read Quran, I would feel bad and think, subhanAllah, what's going on? Why didn't I? They weren't born like that. They practiced and trained and went on and on and on. Now, take for example, those of you here, now take someone who doesn't smoke. You see somebody who smokes and is addicted to smoking. You don't smoke, so for you it's easy. So you think to yourself, subhanAllah, this guy, what's wrong with him? Why is he smoking? It doesn't taste nice, it smells bad. Why you did? But you yourself have your own addictions and your own sins and mistakes that you make. Why can't you leave? It's the same reason. It's the same reason. The nafs hasn't been prevented. It might be easy for you to prevent it from smoking or alcohol. The majority of Muslims now, if we were to say alcohol, I've never desired alcohol ever, anyway. I don't even want to drink it. What about the rest of the sins? The same treatment is required. The same treatment is required. After training and after disciplining, we will have the same feeling. This sin, I'm not interested. This, I'm not interested. This, I'm not interested in the first place. Now, Ramadan is a huge blessing. Ramadan is a huge blessing. We have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to have Ramadan time and time again, because it's our savior. For the year, it's our savior. Ramadan is what saves us. We drown in the dunya for 11 months. When Ramadan comes, it saves us for 1 month. For the majority of us, 1 month only, and then we're back into war, the war of the dunya. And so Ramadan has to be made the most out of. We don't say, it's just Ramadan, I'm going to go back to normal again. Go back to normal, no problem. Of course, you don't intentionally go back to normal, but at least we make the most out of Ramadan. We make the most, because Ramadan is a chance to accumulate so much reward. And the Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith, Ramadan to Ramadan, كفارة لما بينهما مجتنبت الصغائر. Ramadan to Ramadan is a removal of sins. A whole year's sins. That's a lot of sins for us. And it's removed so long as the major sins are avoided or the major sins are repented from. Then that's like avoiding them. And so we have to make the most of this opportunity, and reward is multiplied and multiplied and multiplied in Ramadan. Imagine one night, Laylatul Qadr, it is better than how much? 1,000 months. Nah. And so if we make the most out of this one day consistently during Ramadan, especially the last 10 days, we make the most of it. That's a huge amount of reward. And we'll come on the Day of Judgment expecting little, and we'll have, insha'Allah, if it is done sincerely, huge amounts of reward. And we'll be relieved. Because the Day of Judgment is difficult. The Day of Judgment is difficult. And so if we come on the Day of Judgment and we have our proof to defend us, that's going to be a huge relief for us. In a narration, the Messenger ﷺ says, during Ramadan, the gates of Jannah are open, and the gates of Jahannam are closed, and the shayateen are chained. What does this mean, that the shayateen are chained? What does it mean? Does it mean that
he doesn't have the power? He doesn't have the power to whisper and to make you divert your attention.
Okay, fine. So why do people still commit sin in Ramadan? Some people commit more sin in Ramadan.
Yes, the nafs is still there.
Okay, fine. The nafs is still there. And several imams, like Qadi Abu Walid al-Baji, who is from the imams of the Malikiyya, from Andalus, and several others, like Qadi Ayyad and other scholars, mention that when a shaitan is chained, when somebody is chained up, are they prevented from movement altogether? Or can they still move and speak and think and so on? They can still do things, but they're weaker. They're weaker. Now if there was a boxing match and a person had one hand only, maybe the one with one hand will win. If he's strong enough, he might win. So he can still move, he can still do something, but he's going to be weaker. And so the same idea here, the shayateen are weakened. Shayateen are weak. But if the person that I'm boxing against is weak, I can beat him even with one hand. And so it's not just the shaitan who has to be weak, the opposition has to be strong as well. At least a little strong. But this is important. Not just because it's Ramadan, that's it, no more shayateen. Shayateen is still there. If we're strong enough, then it'll be easy. Allah will make the path easy for us. Okay, because the shayateen are weakened. But that doesn't mean it's a walk in the park and everything will come out. We still have to push and push and push. And the harder we push, the easier defeating the shaitan is. Okay? And so here's our chance. Here's an amazing chance. This boxer now, the moment he sees this person is one straight in. I'm not going to give any chances. I'm not going to waste any time. Because he's only going to be with one hand for 5 minutes, or 1 round, or 2 rounds, for example. We have to be the same. Yeah, we have to. Boxing rounds are 12 rounds?
Yeah.
12 rounds. There you go. 1 round. 1 round he's one-handed, and the other 11 rounds he's two-handed. Same here. 1 month is one-handed, and the 11 months are back to proper fighting. But if we're prepared and strengthened, Ramadan at least strengthens us, and that's the key. Now, one of the key things for getting somewhere in Ramadan and in life in general is that we have a clear, set out plan and program laid out. Small, it doesn't have to be too much. Anything's small so long as it is consistent. And we all know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that the most beloved actions to Allah are that which are consistent. Yeah? Those which are consistent. Even if they're little. Even if they're little. So a person looks at themselves, we all know ourselves individually. I know myself, I can't read more than 1 juz in Quran, for example. Don't read more than 1 juz. Read 1 juz. Just make sure it's all every day. Or I can't even read, I can only read half a juz. Read half a juz. But every day. The biggest disaster is that we start to read 6 ajza per day. How long do you think that's going to last? My whole life I'm only reading 5 pages, 6 pages, and it comes Ramadan, I want to do 6 ajza. What's going to happen? How long is that going to last? A few days, yeah. A few days. Maybe the first day, the second day will be only a few ajza, and the third day is all gone. Yeah? This is very, very important. We start with small amounts, even from now, during Ramadan. And before Ramadan, even before Ramadan, we start with tiny amounts. 5 pages, 1 ruba', which is 2.5 pages, generally, per day. Yeah. Each person looks at themselves. We all know ourselves better. Now, one of the very big points to note here, we have to sit down with ourselves, something called muhasabah, and think to ourselves, okay, what am I good at? What can I do? What can I not do? And so on. Because there's no good just listening to advice all the time and listening to lectures and classes. We've had enough lectures. In our life we've listened to so many lectures, so many classes, so many YouTube videos, so many conferences, so many khutab. But the effect isn't so big. Why is that? Because that needs to be taken. I need to go away now, sit down with myself, okay, I need to start doing this. I need to stop doing this. Every day. And the Salaf, rahimahumullah, used to sit down with themselves for a period of time, every day, and what's the word? What's muhasabah? Accounting, yes. Holding oneself to account. Yeah? Holding oneself to account. We have to hold ourselves to account. Wallahi, it's important. We know the statement of Umar radiallahu anhu. حَاسِبُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ قَبْلَ أَن تُحَاسَبُوا. Hold yourselves to account, before you're held to account. Because we'll be held to account. وَزِنُوا عَمَالَكُمْ قَبْلَ أَن تُوزَنُوا. And weigh your deeds. We weigh our deeds. Before we are weighed. For our deeds are weighed on the Day of Judgment. This is really key, really important. It can be such a short amount before we sleep. Most people don't sleep in 5 seconds. They jump into bed and they roll to this side and to that side and to this side, and a couple of rolls first and a few minutes. That period of time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, can be spent in muhasabah. That period of time can be spent in muhasabah. We think, like today, what did I do? I didn't do this, and I didn't do this, and I ought to have done this. Tomorrow I need to make sure I do this. And this goes back to the point we spoke about in taqwa. When we're actually thinking and careful, we do things the right way. We do things the right way. When we're not thinking, we can say anything, we can do anything. So when we have this period of muhasabah, accounting us, holding ourselves to account, wallahi, actions are so much better. We end up doing things so much better. We make much less mistakes, and we commit far less sins because we're actually thinking. We're actually thinking. Now, in an environment where, in a class environment inside the masjid and so on, everyone thinks twice before they say something. No one's just going to start cracking a joke or start laughing out loudly for no reason, or because we're careful. But whereas if we're in an environment where we're not really that bothered, we're not thinking, everything is relaxed, we're more likely to make a mistake. And so this is the key here. Because wallahi, it's really sad if we live day after day, day after day, day after day, day after day, and we haven't once thought about holding ourselves to account. This is really dangerous for us. It harms us. And it results in us committing sin and making mistakes. And the more we add to our account of sins and mistakes, this affects the heart. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ. Allah has sealed over their hearts. Why? مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Because of what they used to do. So it's the things that we do that cause our hearts to become dead. ثُمَّ قَسَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ. Then our hearts became hard after that. Your hearts became hard after that. Allah addresses people in the Quran. After that, meaning after what was done, what was committed from sin and mistakes. And this is the point here, because we are easy with committing sins and mistakes because we don't see immediate punishment. Okay, I've committed haram, I've said haram, I've eaten haram, and drank haram, and looked at haram, and heard haram, and this and that. Because there's no direct and immediate punishment, we become relaxed. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, we're easy going, and we continue, not realizing that every single sin that affects our heart is killing us more and more and more and more, and then becoming safe becomes difficult. Okay. Now, as I stated, we'll be discussing partially the spiritual angle of Ramadan, preparing for Ramadan, and also knowing the guidelines. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fi din." If Allah wants good for a person, if Allah wants good for us, He gives us fiqh in the religion, understanding of the religion. And this is very important. On the way here, I was talking to Brother Fawzi about the way some Muslims, lack of understanding, cause them to harm themselves. We end up harming our own selves and harming those around us. Why? Because of lack of understanding. Can the religion of Allah, the guidance of Allah, be harmful for us and harmful for people? No. So why is it that Muslims are so far back? Because of the lack of understanding. Lack of understanding. And wallahi, when a person gathers understanding and learns about their religion, bit by bit, learning the most important, then the next, and the next, and the next, there is a wisdom about this person, and a clear guidance in this person, clear understanding, sound intellect about this person. And we can all distinguish. Those who we know, we can all distinguish between the one whose understanding is sound and the one whose understanding is weak. And the one whose knowledge and wisdom is good and the one whose knowledge and wisdom isn't so good. It's very easy. And the majority of the time we see that those with knowledge of the religion are strong in their intellect and understanding. The majority of the time. And it's very important that knowledge is taken step by step, and this is the role of the teachers and the role of the masajid as well. When they're teaching, they teach what's most important, then the next, then the next, then the next. Yeah? This is so essential. Not somebody accepts Islam and the first thing he's taught about is the Jahmiyyah, the Mu'tazila, and other sects like this. What's this? The person doesn't know who Umar ibn Khattab is and he knows who Jahm ibn Safwan is. This is really strange in understanding. A person doesn't know how to pray salah correctly, yet he knows, knowledge relating to appearance and the beard and the clothing and this and that. That's not what comes first. It comes next. And even if that's important, it doesn't take priority. Some people make it a priority, more important than salah, more important than iman, more important than good khuluq. That's such a major mistake. It's a major, major mistake. And this is what caused chaos in the Muslim community. There isn't this structure in learning our religion. This comes first, this has to be learned first, then the next, then the next, then the next. Revelation, how did revelation come? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he came to guide us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in steps. Not this, and then random thing from here, and a random bit of knowledge from here, and a random bit of knowledge from here. It wasn't like this. The most important came first, then the next, then the next, then the next. And the key of that is iman, belief in Allah, and belief in the final day. This comes first. And this is why it took 10 years. When was the salah first obliged? The 5 daily prayers. How many years after the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent as a prophet? 10 years. 10 years. 10 years of what? There was no zakat, no Ramadan. What? 10 years of what? 10 years of learning iman, 10 years of learning about Allah, 10 years of yaqeen, certainty, 10 years of the akhirah, of Jahannam and Jannah, 10 years of character and conduct, 10 years of discipline. This. Now, after this training that the Sahaba had, when the Messenger ﷺ told them anything, immediately. No thinking, no hesitating. No hesitating at all. The Sahaba radiallahu anhu saw the Messenger ﷺ take his footwear off. So they took it off. And he said to them, why did you take your shoes off? He said, we saw you take your shoes. They said, we saw you take your shoes off. He said, Jibreel came to me and told me there is an impurity under mine, so that's why I took them off. But they don't care. The Messenger ﷺ did it, we're going to do it. Immediately, when alcohol became prohibited, we know the people poured them out. This is money. It's a lot of money. Imagine somebody now with a shop who sells alcohol, you say to them, you've accepted Islam now, brother, you need to get rid of all this. How easy is it to grab everything, say Bismillah. It comes from certainty only, and iman. It was easy for them because their learning was structured in order. This, then this, then this. And the Prophet ﷺ sent Mu'adh to Yemen. What do you say to him? Teach them what? Teach them, tell them first that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad ﷺ is his messenger. فَإِنْهُمْ أَطَاعُوكَ لِذَلِكَ. If they obey you for that, then tell them that Allah has obligated 5 prayers. And if they obey you with that, then tell them that there is a sadaqah that they need to pay, taken from their rich and given to their poor, and so on. It's structured, and this is so important for the masajid especially. The masajid especially. Some of the masajid, some of the teachers, some of the speakers, okay, they don't teach what is important for people to know. Really important. And there's a story of a young man who went to a shaykh. And he said to him, look, I have good memory, strong memory. So what should I learn? What should I memorize? And one of our teachers narrates this story to us, that he knows personally. So what should I learn? I've got good memory. And this teacher, this shaykh, he used to like Sahih Muslim. He used to teach Sahih Muslim and so on. So he had a love for Sahih Muslim. Big book of hadith. So he said, you have good memory? Memorize Sahih Muslim. Memorize Sahih Muslim. Now, the sunnah of all the scholars is that if you want to study the religion, don't start with Sahih Muslim. Sahih Muslim doesn't come first. Many other things come first. You learn other things first, more important. Then if you have grasped the various sciences and the basics, you can move on to these big texts and books, not a problem. So this student, afterwards, after spending a long time memorizing Sahih Muslim, he didn't finish Sahih Muslim, he memorized a portion of it. He said, Wallahi, I have to control myself from cursing that man. Cursing the man who I asked, what should I memorize? And he told me Sahih Muslim. Why? Sahih Muslim is a book of hadith, or not? What's wrong with that then? Because it's not the right order. It's not the correct order. It's very harmful, in fact. Very harmful. And the same happens with knowledge. Same happens with knowledge. A person wants to study all of the details and depths and intricate details of the different sciences, and they don't know the basics. They don't know the basics. Ask them what are the pillars of salah, and they won't know the answer. But they will tell you the beliefs of the Shia is this, and the beliefs of the Shia is this. Who cares about the Shia? Why am I going to care about what the Shia believe if I don't know how salah is prayed correctly first? When you become an expert in Aqidah, you can learn that if you want. And when you become a teacher of Aqidah, then fine, no problem. But when you become a teacher or a student of knowledge, who specializes, then no problem. But this is not the first thing. This is very harmful. So we have to think carefully. The masajid and those who teach and those who give classes have to think carefully about what's the first thing that we need to teach people. What's the first thing we need to teach people? Now, if the Messenger ﷺ says, if Allah wants good for a person, He teaches him knowledge in the religion, gives him understanding of the religion. Like, what if someone doesn't have understanding in the religion then? It means that we need to fear for ourselves. We need to think, okay, something's going wrong. And knowledge is sweet. Wallahi, knowledge is a beautiful and enjoyable thing. It's just a case of a person has to get into that habit. And the classes of knowledge are most enjoyable. Because the person takes benefit, it's peaceful, it's relaxed. And at the same time a person takes in knowledge that they can then use it in their life. And this knowledge guides them. Let alone the mercy of the angels surrounding us and Allah's mentioning us and so on. These are huge blessings. Now, the Prophet ﷺ fasted how many Ramadans? How many years did he fast? What's the answer? 9. Yeah, 9. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ fasted 9 Ramadans. Which means that fasting was prescribed in which year? After the Hijrah, the second year after the Hijrah. So second year, so after Salah, with a few years, Siyah and fasting was prescribed. Now initially, then, in the beginning, early phases of fasting, of Islam, fasting was an option. There was an option either to feed or to fast. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٌ. And afterwards it says, وَأَنْ تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. And that you fast, it's better for you. And fasting is better. Then that verse was abrogated, no more choice in fasting. Now this fasting has become obligatory. Obligatory for every Muslim who is baligh, reached the age of maturity, and not traveling, and has an aql, not sane, okay, and the woman is pure. Now, the moment a person reaches the age of maturity, fasting becomes wajib. Fasting is not wajib before that. However, if we leave fasting until the child becomes of maturity, what's going to happen? It's going to be very difficult. Especially imagine now, the child is used to breakfast, nice big juicy breakfast, and a break time in school, they've got crisps and sandwich and this, at lunchtime they've got meals and this, go home, food is ready, at night, food all the time, constantly. Then one day, okay, now you're 13, 14, no food from Fajr until Maghrib. How are they going to deal with that? How are they going to deal with that? They might be 13, 14, they'll probably start crying. This is and that's the fault of the parents, and the fault of those who look after them. And so it has to be, the training has to occur. Fast half a day even, to begin with. Fast from Fajr till Dhuhr. Jazakallah khair, well done. And you give him a gift for fasting till Dhuhr. Fast until Asr, fasting. And then fasting becomes easy. Now, alhamdulillah, now, those of us who've been fasting, Allah's blessed us with fasting for years and years and years, we don't have the same problem anymore. Maybe on the first day, second day, if we're not used to fasting throughout the year, we might find it difficult to begin with, but then it becomes not. It's easy. No one is sat there and their back is hurting and they complain. Alhamdulillah, it's fine. Because of training. And they have to be trained. They have to be trained. It's really important. Not taken to extremes, of course, but at the same time, not to be too lenient, because it can be difficult. May Allah help all the parents. And because it can be difficult, we want to get the balance right between not being too strict and at the same time not being too lenient. And it can be very difficult to find the middle ground, the correct balance. But as much as possible, we do need to try and to get a balance. Not to say, I don't want to be harsh, I don't want to be strict, I don't want to be strict. Okay, don't be strict. They've made it difficult. You've made it difficult for them now. Now life is difficult for them. Same with the young girls wearing the hijab. I don't want to be strict, I don't want to be strict, I don't want to be strict. Now they're like this. We're not saying when she's 4 we'll make her wear the niqab. No one has said that. But at the same time, there has to be, in our minds at least, not wait until it's wajib and then say, now let's try. No, it's almost impossible. Now if she wears the hijab, it's difficult. Imagine if she doesn't wear it when she's young. So this is really key. And all habits, you'll find, and we see in ourselves now, if our parents got us into a routine, for example, of saying Bismillah before we eat, or before entering the bathroom we say dua, and before doing, we still say it now. Because it's become routine and habit. And now we appreciate the importance and what it means and so on, but it doesn't matter, at least it's still a habit. Yeah? Even if there's not full comprehension of why it's important and this and that, not a problem. That can come inshallah. But the key is that it's a routine. It's part of a habit. This time is correct, isn't it? Okay, so that's the first point that's to be noted. That Ramadan is wajib for these. And this means that Ramadan is not wajib for the one who is traveling. Fasting is not wajib. Ramadan is there, whether you're traveling or not. Fasting in Ramadan isn't wajib for the one who is traveling. What if they're traveling by these virgin trains? They're so comfortable and fast and easy, or they're traveling by plane, or do they still have to fast? The one who's traveling. And the traveling is so easy. In fact, someone working in London struggles more than the one traveling by train. Is this not true? Yes. So, can this traveler break their fast or not? Yes. Even if they find it easy. Because it's a rukhsah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a permission, Allah's made it permissible. The person who's ill, the person who is not feeling well, they can break their fast. However, with conditions. The person who's ill breaks their fast with conditions. Not anyone who's ill can break their fast. If I've broken my wrist, for example, does breaking my wrist affect fasting? It's not going to affect my fast. And so fasting is still required. Why? Fasting is still obligatory. And similarly, if I have a cut in my arm, or a cut in my knee, or I fall over, and so on, this usually doesn't affect fasting. And so fasting is still obligatory. Fasting is still obligatory. It's the fasting that affects the fast, it's the illness that affects the fast that allows a person to break their fast. And a person is the judge of themselves. A person judges themselves. They don't take advantage and make things, break their fast over nothing if they know this doesn't affect my fast. And at the same time, they don't go over the top with themselves. Some people, they have to be throwing up and bleeding and this. Now I'm going to break my fast. There's no need to take it that far. And some people, a small cut in their finger, I have to break my fast. You don't need to break your fast for that. Similarly, if a doctor advises that you don't fast, preferably a Muslim doctor who knows the importance of fasting, preferably, because maybe the doctor who's not a Muslim doesn't appreciate fasting, doesn't understand its importance, and so says, just don't fast. Just in case there's this, even when there's no real harm. So if there is a harm, or potentially by not eating, more harm is caused, the illness is made further, then a person breaks it. A person breaks it. In fasting, Ramadan, the books of fiqh discuss in detail how do we know that the month of Ramadan has begun, and sighting the moon and so on, etc. And the majority, hands up if you've ever tried to sight the moon for Ramadan. You've tried to sight the moon. Did you see it?
He doesn't even fast.
Okay, fine. So the majority of us now don't go out and see to sight the moon for Ramadan and so on. So the focus is to fast with the community that we're with. And this is really important. It's ajib. If a person standing next to each other in salah, he's fasting, he's not fasting. This is a mushkil. Especially when the majority of scholars say, if the moon has been sighted in one part of the world, it is wajib for the whole world to fast. And this is the opinion of the Hanabila and the Malikiyya and the Hanafiyya. They all say this. It's obligatory for everyone to fast. And is that difficult in our time? It's not difficult. News spreads in seconds. News spreads in seconds. We can watch news live. We can find out news faster than those living in that place. And so that's easy. It doesn't have to be wajib. We don't have to worry why are people fasting on different days. It's fine. But at the very least, the community should fast together. At the very least. So now, for example, in Feltham or Hounslow, ideally they should be fasting together. And a person doesn't intentionally go against their community for no reason. That means if a person travels, then you consider yourself with the community that you're in. If a person is now here a person is now in the UK, and let's say in the UK Ramadan has finished, and a person travels to Germany or Italy, or a person travels to another country, then your ruling is the ruling of that community. Your ruling is the ruling of that community, because you're there. الصوم يوم تصومون. The fast is the day you fast, the people fast, and you're considered from those people now. والفطر يوم تفطرون. And the fitr, Eid, is the day of your Eid. So the people that you are with, they're the ones who are considered. Now, when it comes to those who aren't required to fast, we mentioned the ill person, the one who's ill, doesn't have to fast. Who has the same ruling as the one who's ill? Who takes the same ruling? The traveller, we said, doesn't fast, but slightly different, because the traveller can break their fast always, and the one who's ill can break their fast with conditions.
Someone is behind.
Someone who is, this person doesn't fast and he doesn't even have to repeat either. This person doesn't fast, nor does they repeat, because they're mentally unstable. They don't hold to account. رفع القلم عن ثلاثة عن النائم حتى يستيقظ وعن المجنون حتى يفيق. So the person who is mentally unstable, isn't sound mentally, isn't held to account. Yeah? Which one? No, okay, fine. For her fasting, the menstruating woman, or the one who has nifas, which is postpartum bleeding due to giving birth, doesn't fast, isn't allowed to fast, so she can't say, okay, I don't have to fast, but I want to fast anyway. But it's not allowed to fast. And she repeats the fast. Does she repeat salah? No. Salah is repeated and the fasting is repeated. Similarly, the woman who is pregnant, and the woman who is breastfeeding takes the same ruling, according to the majority of scholars, as the person who's ill. She doesn't have a specific ruling according to most scholars. The woman who's breastfeeding or pregnant takes the same ruling. What's the same ruling?
She doesn't fast and she has to fast.
Always doesn't fast?
Period.
Yes, same thing. Because not every woman who is pregnant finds difficulty fasting. And not every woman who is breastfeeding finds difficulty fasting. Some of them will fast. Some of them are okay fasting, so fast. Yeah? If it's okay for them to fast, they fast. And this is key to understand. This is the opinion of the vast majority of fuqaha. That the woman who is breastfeeding or pregnant doesn't fast if she finds difficulty in it, and when she gets better, she repeats the fast. It's as simple as that. That's all it is. And not that she breaks her fast all the time, whether she finds it easy or not, and she just feeds. That's a mistake. Yeah, that's a mistake, and it goes against what the vast majority of fuqaha say. Finally, illnesses are of two types. An illness that is permanent and an illness that is temporary. Okay? An illness that is temporary, such as standard illnesses, such as the woman who is pregnant or breastfeeding.
Cold as well.
Okay, these kinds of illnesses that affect the fast, okay, whether it's a cold or a virus or a severe illness or whatever it is, what's the ruling there? Break your fast and you repeat it on another day. ومن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام. If you're ill or fasting or traveling and you decide to break your fast, then you repeat the same number of days afterwards. You repeat the same number, and they don't have to be in order, repeated in order, but it's better if they're repeated in order. No, there's nothing required to be paid because you have an excuse to break your fast. So you break your fast, and then another time you make up that fast. So that's the ruling on the one who is ill temporarily. What about the one who is ill permanently? They pay a fidya for every day that they miss. Every day that they miss. Let's assume a person, because now illnesses are of all types, and they can be unpredictable. Let's say a person says or is told this illness is permanent, so for years now they pay the fidya and fidya and fidya every year. Then they find that they've become better, alhamdulillah. Do we say repeat the years? No, that's it. Because they did then what was required of them, so that's it. That suffices. And from now you start fasting. It's as simple as that. Is that clear then? Temporary versus permanent illness? That's what's applicable then. The things that a person fasts from are food and drink, and those things that take the same ruling, and also relations and so on. These things are what a person fasts from. And if a person has their fast broken unintentionally, then the fast is valid. The fast is valid. So if a person was to eat or drink, having forgotten, and this usually happens on the first day maybe of Ramadan, because still not into the habit, for the first few days, the person might eat or drink accidentally, the fast is valid. Fast is valid. Not that a person says, I've eaten now, I might as well carry on eating. No. You've eaten now, you stop. You stop eating straight away, and you carry on the fast, and that's it. And the fast is valid. And we know the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that the one who accidentally eats or drinks, then let him finish his fast, because it's a provision from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say alhamdulillah. However, if you see someone eating and drinking, you need to tell them. You need to tell them. You don't say, oh, this is a bonus for them, let them eat and drink. Eat until you're full. No, you need to tell them. You need to tell them. من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه. And still, even though they're not sinful, but eating in Ramadan is still a mistake. And so you do need to tell that person. I used to think otherwise. Okay, and say, well, if it's allowed for them, let them. If they're not sinful, let them eat and eat and eat. But obviously this was corrected later when we started to study and so on. Then obviously this is what the scholars say, because like I said, it's still a mistake, and so they have to be made aware of it. Food and drinks, as we said, are things that invalidate the fast. Now a person needs to begin their fast from Fajr, and the fast ends at Maghrib. Now, the moment Fajr comes in, a person needs to stop eating and drinking, because there is a mistaken understanding that some people have, that so long as it's a little bit, it's okay. 5 minutes, 10 minutes after Fajr, it's not a problem. Because who said it's not a problem? It's a problem. It's a problem. Yeah. The moment, can a person wait 5 minutes till after Isha and then say, now let's pray Maghrib, because it's only 5 minutes? No. Time is gone. Even by 1 second, time is gone. Yeah. And so this is important. Now our reliance is upon timetables. Yeah? We rely on these. And so because these are our sources of time, we have to rely on those sources and stick to them. So we're going by a timetable, and this timetable says 4 a.m. is Imsak, the time of Fajr, or 3 a.m. is the time, that's it, 3 a.m. We don't say let's wait 5 minutes. In fact, the scholars say the opposite. The scholars say you should cut off 5 or 10 minutes earlier, because this is an act of worship, and it's important to be on the safe side, and this is key. And the same is true on the other end, at Maghrib. A person has to be sure that it's time for Maghrib. أو يغلب على ظنه, at the very least. At the very least, quite sure. Not 100% certainty, but quite sure it's time for Maghrib now. And like I said, now we have timetables and the adhan in the masjid and this and that. Okay. And so this is key to understanding. The person can't start breaking their fast a few minutes before. If it's easy for you to look at the timetable and find out what time Maghrib is, you don't look outside, it's quite dark, Bismillah, let's see. No, you have to repeat that day. You have to repeat that day. Because you've broken your fast without certainty, no with ghalab is al-dhan. Especially in this country where sometimes it's Asr and it's dark. Yeah, because of the clouds and this and that. A person can't just rely on that like that. And so that's something to note. We shouldn't be too easy on that. Now, talking of food and drink, I won't take too much longer. This is the final point, inshallah. Talking of food and drink, we spoke at the beginning about how the aim of fasting and the key fruit of fasting is what?
Taqwa.
Attaining taqwa. Attaining taqwa. Taqwa is not attained if the day of Ramadan is spent sleeping. And taqwa is not attained if the night of Ramadan is spent at the cafes and drinking tea and watching movies. This is very important. There's no benefit in that. This will only cause more harm. This will only cause more harm. We spoke in the beginning about how we are so much in need of good deeds. We need our sins to be forgiven. We need our hearts to be purified and washed. If not in Ramadan, when? If it's not going to happen in Ramadan, when is it going to happen? That's the only chance, more or less. So we have to push ourselves. We have to push ourselves. Yes, over the top sleeping during the day and being tired and this and that. Mostly it's psychological. Mostly it's psychological. If we had an important meeting at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., we'd be up like a thorn. Yeah? We wouldn't say, oh, I'm tired, let's wait for it. Straight in, 10 minutes early, 20 minutes early. Yeah, and it becomes easy. If we had an exam in the morning, we're the first one there. We're up, maybe even pray Qiyam al-Layl that night. It doesn't mean it's physically I can't do it. We can do it. Psychologically we don't. We think we're weak. Psychologically we think we're tired. No. So there's a clear difference between, sitting down, you yawn once and you say, I'm tired, I need to sleep. One yawn means you have to go to sleep. Person has to, we have to push ourselves. We have to push ourselves. And when this becomes part of our nature, we find it easy. We don't quickly get deceived by one yawn. One yawn, that's it. It means I'm tired, therefore I have to go and sleep. It doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't mean that at all. I'm slightly feeling tired, I have to go and sleep. No. It doesn't mean that at all. This is the chance. After Ramadan, sleep. After Ramadan, make up your sleep. Now is the time to work, put effort in. Same with food. Eating too much food is one of the reasons of making the soul weak. Yeah? If the physical body is too relaxed, the soul will become weak and ruined. And this is why the scholars, rahimahullah, and the imams of taqwa of the past, they would fast a lot, and they wouldn't be too chilled and relaxed. And one of the Salaf would never lean and relax. It's not haram, nor is it disliked to lean. But he said, I don't want to lean and relax because this will put the soul at rest too much. It will put the soul at rest too much. I don't want to get used to too much ease and relaxation. And this is what we're now afflicted with. Life has become easy. Everything is fast. Everything is quick. Everything is right now, right now, right now. If a restaurant takes more than 5 minutes, why? What's wrong? 5 minutes is... What's 5 minutes? It's nothing. If a person crossing the road takes more than 30 seconds, we're angry. Hurry up! Quick, 30 seconds. Even 5 minutes. Let them walk for 5 minutes. What's going to happen? Say subhanallah 100 times. Save 5 minutes. It's not. It's because we're used to it. Because we're used to it. Back then, months and months and months of travel for one or two things. And Abdullah ibn Mubarak took accidentally a pen with him that belonged to someone. He walked all the way back to Sham just to give back this pen. Walk all the way back just to give a pen. He didn't say no way in the world. With us, 5 minutes we won't go back. I'm gone now, that's it. The person calls, where are you? I'm gone now, that's it. Tomorrow inshallah. Because we're used to it. And so the idea is the same. Food and drink and too much relaxation, too much ease. Let's not allow our bodies to be too much in love of ease and relaxation. We should be more. And Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, before he passed away radiallahu anhuma, he said, I'm not going to miss anything from this dunya except 3 things. And one of them was fasting the long hot days and standing the long difficult nights. And the third is fighting for the sake of Allah. 3 difficult. And he said, I'm going to miss those 3 things the most. The rest of the things I don't care about. This is what I'm going to miss the most. And these are physically difficult acts. Because when the bodies were not given too much rest, the soul was strong, and the hearts were strong, and discipline was strong, and the nafs was strong, and willpower was strong because of this. So the last thing we need to do in Ramadan is to prepare all, that's fine. Obviously Ramadan food is going to be different types of food and this and that. We're not going to make things difficult for no reason. Say no, eat bread and water. But no, we haven't said this. Eat the different types of food and this and that. But not to extremes. Not to extremes. To the extent that we come to Taraweeh like this. And we can barely stand in Taraweeh. It's a disaster. Because now when we're like this in Taraweeh, how are we going to listen to the Quran? How are we going to understand the Quran? How are we going to focus on the dua of the Imam? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. If a person limits it, and even in fact in Ramadan it's even difficult to eat. Don't we find this? When we're fasting at the beginning, usually it's more difficult. So let's not psychologically say, no, I've only had little bit. If you feel full, alhamdulillah, say alhamdulillah. Don't force yourself to eat. No, how can I be full? No, I fasted the whole day, I have to be hungry. We're not hungry, alhamdulillah. And we leave it at that. This is key. Not overeating, not over wasting time, not spending too much time talking and relaxing and messing about, especially in the last 10 days. Wallahu a'lam wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi.